Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. Lots of great guests coming up, and today's guest as well, another one from over the pond. You may well recognise his dulcet tones when he used to do, obviously, Needs Another Round podcast with Chris and Bianca. That seemed ages ago, wasn't it, James? When thinking about it.
Yeah, over 5 years now.
Yeah, he's done all right since then, let's be fair. Yeah, he's co-exec producer of The Late Late Show, back in the studio now, which is great. It's James Longman. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Got your health. As long as we got our health and we got a roof over our heads. Yeah. Now, James has actually had quite an eventful lockdown type period, in that he's actually got his wife gave birth to a second child, so he's got a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old now. So
yeah, just 3 months. So we moved, fun enough, we moved house and had a second kid during all the lockdown period. So it was not only the anxiety of everything that was happening, also the anxiety of being a father again and a new house. So it's been interesting. Well, all lucky. Everything's lucky. So
yeah, as long as everyone's got their health, that's the main thing, isn't it, man? And obviously, you know, as we just said before we started, obviously you guys are back in the studio to some degree. Yeah. So you know it must be a lot better than trying to organise and do all the Zoom stuff and things. At least you sort of can see people.
We have. We were doing the show, James Gordon's show, in his garage for a little while.
Yeah.
Now we've just moved back into the studio, so we can't have audience like we used to, and we don't have guests coming into the studio yet. And I'm currently I share an office with my friend Rob, and there's like a Hannibal Lecter plexiglass between us. and if I leave this area, I've got a face mask to wear, so it's sanitized everywhere.
Oh God!
So it's very safe. Long may it continue.
Yeah, exactly. One day everything will be back a bit to normal. Yeah. There seems to be, particularly over here, we've got football wise, I think Brighton are playing Chelsea. They'd have already played them by the time the video got out, but I think they got in 2,500 fans in there.
Oh really?
On Saturday, yeah, as a test run.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes, but. I know. It's weird. What's it like? Obviously, people. Obviously, you particularly have been used to watching West Ham on television, but obviously, for a lot of guys in the UK who go to the games, obviously they haven't been used to it. So it's a bit sort of a learning curve. But what's it like supporting West Ham, being 8 hours back, getting up early in the morning?
I guess there's swings and roundabouts. Like with the 3 o'clock kickoffs to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So. That's kind of doable, and the good thing is that if you lose, well, I guess the good thing and the bad thing, because if you lose, you've got a bit, longer to mope about it. But then it's the weekend and it's sunny, so by the end of the day, you've kind of forgotten a little bit. But then you don't get the post-match analysis in the pub with your mates, kind of moaning about it and get it out of your system. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. The early kickoff, there's a group out here. I'm kind of part of a group with Hollywood Hammers, my friend Matt Hagger. And we run that together. There's a few LA groups out here. So before lockdown, we'd go to a local pub and watch like 7 a.m. To watch the games, which is fun. We get a good group of people actually. Some Americans, mainly Brits, like a Russian, a few Mexicans because of Chiquito. So there's a little crowd out here for it. So we get together when we can.
Yeah, no, it's good. Through this, it's been to loads of the guys over there, loads of obviously the American Hammers Network and John Black in Vegas and David in East Coast. It's brilliant. Honestly, I love it because it's just weird. And obviously, these guys like yourselves who have flown the nest, so to speak. But the guys who are American or maybe live in India or live in Scandinavia who are still West Ham fans just blows my mind, really, because it's like you had all these teams to pick and you picked this little oh God.
No, but it's always quite good stories, isn't it? It's like a player, like someone loved Mark Reaper and they would have been supported West Ham because of it, stuff like that. It really good the way you kind of get into it. And the Americans out here kind of somehow have just picked up on West Ham as of all the teams to support, which seems madness.
It does, yes.
But then once they're into it, they're into it. They're kind of, you know, they're committed and they watch every game and they know the stuff. They sing the songs slightly differently, which is weird. But no, it's, you know, it's growing and growing.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. And yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's just like, when you go around, you just sort of like interviewing these people. You said, you know, it's like, oh, I just picked a team and I thought, oh, I don't know. Then I just opened up the newspaper and West Ham were there. So I thought, yeah, we'll do them. And then they get into the stats. It's all the stats that, you know, obviously the Americans love their stats, don't they, when it comes to sport. And there's not many great ones for West Ham, to be honest. Not many great stats, but it doesn't matter. They still sort of manage to do them. So for you, James, you know, obviously we all know you as a big, massive West Ham fan. How did it start for you? What's your, if you was like a Marvel superhero, what's your origin story to become a West Ham fan?
Well, it was forced upon me. No, I guess my family are all from East Ham and Plaistow.
Yeah.
I was talking to my dad about it. My nan lived on Parr Road, which is 2 streets away from the old ground. So, it's horrible calling it the old ground.
The old ground, yeah.
2 streets away, so like kind of the family were all around there. My grandparent, my granddad and his mates all used to be season ticket holders. And my dad had a shop on the Barking Road called Longman's, which was kind of a wholesale place. In fact, he did a bit of everything. He was a bit of a wheeler. He still is a wheeler dealer. And I remember going as a kid. I remember first my brother had West Ham wallpaper. My brother's older. I remember I took over his room and had West Ham wallpaper when I was very young. And I remember as a kid, during the summer holidays, I'd go with my dad to work and I'd wander up to the West Ham ground. And that was when they used to have the old porter cabin.
Yeah.
Which was like Santa's grotto. So I used to go into the porter cabin and I used to buy those. They used to have those little pictures of players. Who knows?
6x4s, yeah.
With like 20 people. But I used to have them all up my wall. And occasionally, I remember a few times it happens, the players had been training there and they came out. And I remember being in the club shop and I had kind of the brochure. I called it a brochure. It was like 2 bits of A4 stuck together with like all the stuff you could buy in there.
Yeah.
I remember players coming out and that was all like Ward and Cotton and McAven. They all signed it for me. And I remember writing that. I remember going to school and we had to write an essay on the best day of your life. I remember writing that as the best day of my life. And I still think that probably was the best day of my life.
Oh, dear.
Like all your heroes, because they are your idols. So it was kind of like it was always West Ham. There was no one else really. Well, I remember like when I was growing up, I also loved football. So I did have a John Barnes picture up on my wall. Like John Barnes in an England kit. So,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but no, it's always been West Ham.
Always been West Ham. No, I know it's greatest day of your life. Married with 2 children, James. Doesn't matter.
I think about that, how magical that is when you meet players. Even now, occasionally we have players come out here in the summer breaks. We had 12 come watch a game, come watch a show, and we had who else? We have old Hugo came out, lovely guy. So he came out. So like we've had players come in. I'm still super excited to meet them. There's still kind of nothing like it.
Yeah. And obviously the host of My Hammers 11 you had out as well. So
yes,
you know, so don't forget me as well. But yes, no, yeah. And actually, funny enough, me on the side note, me and Jim are still really good mates. Me and Jim White are still really good mates.
Funny.
You created that friendship, James. Inadvertently, me and Jim White, yeah. Bless him.
Well, you know, so when Corden comes out, he does Sopper Show does a monologue.
Yeah.
And he's got a little West Ham badge there. Nice. So when he walks out at the top of the show and does his jokes, he stops at the West Ham badge. So he's a big hammer too.
Yeah.
So and like over the years, it's been like Ben Shepherd's a mate, and he's a big hammer. Russell Brand, like you know, we're everywhere. Like
we really are, and it's. I mean, hopefully we should have. I mean, Ben's coming on soon, which would be good. I used to play rugby with Ben. Many years ago when he was at GMTV before he left. He had to stop playing rugby because he'd go in on Monday morning for like a black eye and he'd spend like so many hours trying to get makeup on the black eye. He had to stop playing. good player though. You can
Yeah,
imagine.
he is a good player. He goes in
Yeah.
off, doesn't
Yeah, he goes in proper hard. Well, is he on? I think Soccer Aid soon, isn't it? I think, and he always likes to do. He turns out with that, and even like people like Mark Wright and stuff as well. I mean, there's loads of all over the bloody place West Ham fans. It's funny, you sort of and that's why when I go on holiday, I always wear take some. I literally in my suitcase it's all shirts because you go in and you sort of talk to people, and you wear a West Ham shirt. It might be the waiting staff or I know some random bloke, and that's it. You're sorted then, and it's all over the place. We just sort of get into people's skin, It's like I love it, absolutely love it. And
it's a lovely common bond with everyone. Like
it is.
You meet a West Ham fan anywhere, and you'll get on with them.
Yeah, I like today. Like literally, I dropped my car off for the MOT and service, and the bloke outside we put about 25 minutes about his season ticket and stuff, and then I literally pulled up at my house and some other bloke went, "Still ain't signed no one, have we?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, sorry, I do apologise. I do apologise, And then we had about half. I love it, and we've been social distancing for years, James. That's it. We don't have to shake hands, no hugs, just irons. That's it, done. I love it, man. Do you remember your first game, James? Remember your first game you went to?
Yeah, I think I went to Wimbledon at home. I had a period going to because I used to my school. We played football on Saturdays, so I loved playing as well. So I never went regularly. I went when I could, and I think the first one was West Ham Wimbledon. I remember walking up on the West Stand and seeing the pitch, and just thinking how amazing that pitch was and how massive it looked.
Yeah,
I still get that excitement when you walk into. Generally, like into a football ground, I still get that excitement. But when you used to walk into Upton Park and see the ground for the first time and feel the buzz and kind of get the goosebumps.
Yeah.
Imagine.
It's the smells as well, isn't it? It's the smells.
Even when the football's dreadful. What I miss most actually about England is going to the games with, I had season tickets with Chris Skull and Russ Williamson, Dan Story and Chalk from KUMB. And we all sat together and his kids. And I miss that the most, actually, because we watched some absolutely dreadful football. But it didn't really matter because you're just with your mate and you're kind of having a laugh, really, and then having a few beers afterwards. And the football's like the best period, which will rub some people up the wrong way for us when as season ticket holders, was those few months under Allardyce where we were golden. With Sacco and Valencia and Downing and Song in midfield, we were absolutely golden, beating all the teams. Every time we attacked, like we had our season tickets on the chicken run, and every time we attacked, we're like, we're going to score, and we did lots. We scored lots, and it was amazing. It went right up till Christmas, and then Allardyce dropped Song for the Chelsea game, and then after then it all went wrong. It went wrong. That time, the football was amazing. And I think, if I remember right, there was an injury and Allardyce was kind of forced into an attacking formation.
Was it the proverbial diamond and Downing was the top?
There's an injury and he was forced into it. And then from then on, we had like 3 months of looking outstanding. Yeah. And then that was a golden period.
Yeah. No, and it's fun. And he said it's funny because obviously, now on, obviously, I with Chris on match days, or when we had match days, and I actually had a meeting with Russ, because we work in the same industry, and obviously we sort of bumped into each other, and I was like, oh my god, it's so weird, but it's just weird. Sort of, when your worlds collide, when sort of your West Ham world and your work world just collide, it's like fucking hell. It's really weird. It does sort of judder me a little bit because
two wonderful men coming together.
Yes, exactly. And all we did was talk about West Ham for about an hour, and then it was, work-wise, what are you doing? Oh, okay, well, apologies, talk about work now. I know. The sort of the current crop now. What I like about them guys at the moment is they seem to always have a goal in them as well at the moment. You know what I mean? And that's really encouraging because I remember before that we never looked like scoring under Pellegrini, ironically. But since restart, we've sort of been this goal machine. It's like it's not just like the tap-ins, but it's like corners and long throws and sort of mixing up. I'm really sort of optimistic for this season. He says
we're idiots, aren't we? Because I'm optimistic too. I feel like I know Moyes no, people were never going to love Moyes.
No.
Lots of people are never going to love him because he's kind of another dour Brit managing us. But I feel like he's got quite good. He's got the team together. He's got them playing. You know, he's sorted them out defensively as much as he could, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a shambles under Pellegrini. There's been lots of comparisons about whether Pellegrini had still been in charge if we had stayed up. I don't think we would have. I just think it was a downhill spiral. And his last game, which was I was in England, I went to it, it was just hopeless. And I don't think there was any way back for him. And it was a little bit like we all love big name signings, and he was a big name signing, but he'd already gone to China. And if you've gone to China, very rarely do you want to come back. You know, you're done, aren't you? You're not going there for anything other than money.
No.
I just feel like we made another classic vanity signing in Pellegrini.
We did.
And Moyes is like, he's just going to be steady. We just have to accept it's going to be steady.
And I would do that. I'm all right with that for a couple of seasons, to be honest, James, to be honest, because I think we've had a couple of squeaky bum times in the last couple of seasons. And I would love an Allardyce or Kirbishley, you know, a couple of them mid-table seasons, just for a bit of stability. As you said, it's like, you know, I always liken the signing of Pellegrini and obviously the subsequent guys he brought in, like the players, was almost like he's made this beautiful Canary Wharf apartment, but the foundations are absolutely like jelly. And so it's great. It looks beautiful, but as soon as you go and touch it, it's going to fall down. And that's the trouble. I just think Moyes, and, you know, by bringing in like Stuart Pearce, obviously brought in Nolan already, you know, he's got some guys there who are going to rip some shreds into people. And I think that's what West Ham fans like to see as well.
And they were working together. He bought well in the January. A couple of good signings, like our best window for a long time, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think he speaks well. I like what he says about, you know, not expecting too much and, you know, managing all of our expectations and just, you know, inching forward rather than jumping forward, because we just can't go as far forward as we think we can.
No.
Like, we just can't, and we don't, and we consistently fail.
Yeah, it's true.
And I don't know, you know, if we have 2 seasons of mid-table, which is really the best we can hope for, is that enough to... Our fans, we always want more, don't we?
we do. And it's like, we forget.
More and Moyes, but then maybe we have to just shut down for 2 seasons and get on with it, and, you know, occasionally beat Chelsea and be steady, beat the teams around us.
But that's what we do. That's for ever since I remember, you know, we haven't really, bar a couple of redknapp seasons, it has been sort of either mid to bottom table or relegation. Yeah. But as you said, you'll have those 2 or 3 cup finals each season, where it would be a Chelsea or a Tottenham or Man United, and that's what we sort of live for. You know, it's sad, but it's true. And for that week, we can obviously take the mickey out of all our Tottenham fans. For the other 51 weeks, we're silent, we're quiet. But for that 1 week, it's like, we beat you. That's how shit you must be if we beat you. And you know they're going to turn up.
If Moyes can get us a cup final, or else
League Cup.
If we can, I don't know if he. But if we can, it'll be worth it.
Well, I think the League Cup is just... The trouble is with the League Cup, I mean, is it starts... We've got Newcastle on the Saturday, on the 12th or 10th of September. And then I think the first round of the League Cup is that Wednesday. We haven't been drawn about it yet. So it's like, well, straight away you're going to put out a shit team because you're just started the season. You don't want to get any injuries, where at least for the FA Cup, it's like January. By January, you know roughly how your season's going to look, bar a complete, you know, just completely fall off the cliff. But and that's the only thing we haven't won is the League Cup, I believe. So it'd be nice to, because no one else seems to give a shit about it apart from Man City, to be honest. But
probably the gulf now in teams and quality is so massive. How you can ever catch those teams now?
Well, I mean, you see, obviously Chelsea have spent an absolute shitload, and you know, and then, you know, with the whole Messi stuff, and Man City goes, yeah, we can afford him. How the fuck? There's half a billion pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't sound... and we're scrabbling around for, you know, $1.5 million to buy a left back from Wigan. Yeah, exactly. It's just absolutely mental. But as you said, it was going to get worse and worse, though, isn't it? And you know, sort of the Premier League will have. I mean, we're in that sort of 10th to 20th league, maybe sometimes, you know, creeping into 9th and 8th. And I don't think you can expect anything more based on the spending power of everyone else. Luckily, obviously, Newcastle didn't get taken over, because then that would have maybe knocked it down another spot potentially. But
I know Newcastle fans were desperate for that, but I'm glad they weren't. Not because of they'll become a bigger force, just because I think ethically and morally they should not be allowed to buy a team.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you've seen what happened to Wigan. I mean, you know, bless them. You know, they got flipped within a day of being bought, weren't it? It was like absolutely mental, and it's just it's scary, really. But you know, in money wise, there's not, you know, that's the Middle East and sort of Asia. That's where all the money is at the moment, isn't it? New money, and you know, obviously Mr. Sullivan and Gold, they've taken a bit of a hit financially since all their properties and stuff. So
I feel like they're going to be okay.
I think they'll be all right. I mean, they might have. I mean, you know, maybe they'll have to go to Aldi for, you know, their shops rather than Tesco's. I think they'll survive. They'll be all right. They'll be all right. Right, let's talk about this 11, this Hammers 11. So I know you've been deliberating about it. Me and James have literally we've been messaging people for about 3 months since we've chatted. And he comes with an idea and someone nicks it. Oh,
well, you know, Graham from KUMB had a similar one, so I've kind of adapted it a little bit. There might be some crossover.
No problem at all.
And it's an unfamiliar formation, and I don't expect us as 11 to win many games.
As I say, you probably be first on match of the day, maybe for the wrong reasons.
It's a 5-3-2 formation.
Oh, very good. Okay.
The defenders, I could have played even more defenders.
Even more defenders. Oh,
I could have played even more.
Notable mentions. Okay, let's start off in goal.
Then it's a Wrong'uns 11, essentially.
Wrong'uns 11.
Wrong'uns 11, and not all of these Wrong'uns were Wrong'uns. Well, they were Wrong'uns, but they weren't all Wrong'uns at West Ham. Sometimes it was other clubs, but amongst them, they've all been at West Ham, and they're all in some way Wrong'uns.
Love it.
I'm going to put a manager in there. Can I do that?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'm going to start with Avram Grant.
Oh, good old Avram.
Now he's he's in the Wrong'un category because he got caught having a massage at a massage parlour that was later found out to be a brothel. And it's quite a funny story. He was coming out of this massage parlour, and he was photographed, and it was in all the papers. And he was quoted saying, "I got the massage from a rather old woman. I wish they would publish some pictures of her because she was so old. She is obviously not okay." and his wife afterwards, who was also interviewed, said he can do what he wants with his body. So that was Avram's manager. Interestingly, him and his wife are no longer married.
Oh,
make of that what you will.
I remember famously Avram. We were playing Stoke away, and was it Yom Kippur? And he couldn't work.
Yeah.
So it was him and one of the guys who used to, Lloyd, who was the video guy, bless him, Lloyd Bishop, lovely bloke, and he was on the sort of the walkie-talkie to whoever was the assistant manager at the time, and Avram was sort of not working, but he was making comments, and Lloyd was passing them on. And then I think it was like 0-0, and it was like a really boring game. So he then jumps. Lloyd goes, "Right, fuck it, I'm going now." He was sort of going to, and then he needed a substitution made, so he had to phone Lloyd back up. He was in a cab down the M6 or whatever, to Stoke. Turn round, come back to make the substitution, and then go again. And it's like such a West Ham thing. It really was.
He also, when we interviewed players on the KUMB podcast with Chris, Avram was the manager who moved essentially he was porter cabin next to the training pitch, so he never had to come outside. He could watch from in the porter cabin, and occasionally he'd go to sleep So players said they used to just kick the ball against the wall to wake him up.
Oh God!
And then obviously he got fired. He got fired in the lift, didn't he? After the Wigan game.
Yeah, and they didn't tell, and they wouldn't let him back on the coach, wasn't it? I think, and then they had
the players. Was it Scotty Parker? Kicked off and got them all on the coach.
Because there was a famous, was it the West Brom game? We were 3-0 down at half time, and Avram had like nothing. It was a team talk, and Scott gave the team talk, and then we ended up drawing 3-3. And I remember Colton mentioned, everyone had like tears in their eye when Scott was doing this sort of like Churchill type speech at half time, and it made a difference. And obviously, and then he's gone on to be a good manager who's been promoted with Fulham. So there you go.
Good on him. Good. He was a good captain for us.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Okay, so Abraham's the manager.
Right. The goalkeeper is Stephen Bywater. In goal is Stephen Bywater. He was arrested for waving a sword over the heads of 2 delivery men.
But 2 delivery men, though. So has he gone to like Deliveroo and Uber Eats? And
they were delivering an oven.
Okay.
He had a scimitar, and he was apparently they said he was waving it in rage, but he said he was using it to cut the packaging off the new oven. He was found not guilty. So,
brilliant! Oh.
So yeah, Bywater, by all accounts, is quite a comedy character, and used to be quite a comedy character at West Ham.
Yes,
in terms of not loads up top.
No, that's what we interviewed Shaka and a few others, and they were lovely about him, but they did sort of joke a little bit about he wasn't the sharpest tool in the box, bless him. But
I love he had that kind of sword in his house.
Yeah.
Left back in the wrong ends 11. I'm going to put Dixie.
Yeah.
Just because he was a wrong on like a hero, but a wrong on for all the right reasons on the pitch. He gave everything. He put into big challenges. Recently, I've been enjoying watching the Marco Boogers tackle on Gary Neville, where Dixie runs however many yards to push 4 Man U players away from him.
Oh.
So Dixie gets in there. Also, which I forgot when I was looking into these this week, in his testimonial against Atletico Bilbao, there was a 17-man brawl.
Yeah, yeah, it was. We had Mad Dog on, and I asked him what his favourite West Ham game was, and he went, "Do you know what? It was West Ham Wimbledon." And I said, "Oh, okay, yeah." We had a 20-man fight in the middle of the pitch, and then it all cleared off. It took about 10 minutes to disperse, and then Dennis Wise got the ball, and Julian literally kicked him about 6 feet up in the air and just walked down the tunnel with his hand up, like, "Yeah, that's me. Yep."
Call a cab.
Yeah, see, I'm done. That's me done. And he's just obviously become a dad again as well. Yeah. Very similar to yourself, obviously,
in many ways, me and Dixie.
Well, 2 peas in the pod.
And another man in the Premier League.
Yeah, not only does he have to contend with keeping West Brom in the Premier League, he's got a little baby to contend with as well, bless him. It's like, oh dear. Doesn't make it easy on himself. I think he's 50, and he was just turned 53 as well.
Oh, wow.
Same birthday as Phil Parks. There we go. Bit of useless information. Good old Julian. Loved him.
There's 3 in the middle.
Yeah.
In the middle, we're starting with our ginger Australian Hayden Fox.
Hayden Fox.
And he was one of the classic Christmas party incidents where he was thrown out Sugar Reef, which was in London, for peeing up against the bar at a Christmas party. He was fined 2 weeks' wages. And it was one of those wonderful Christmas parties. We have quite a good history of Christmas incidents.
Yeah, we do.
The snowman's outfit.
Yeah.
Over Christmas was, in many ways, the best one.
Yeah, but that was a return to form, wasn't it? There was a few years where it got like it was
for a long time.
Yeah, but then Mikel came back and smashed his Lamborghini in a Father Christmas in a snowman outfit. But it's just weird. I mean, Hayden Fox was just weird, wasn't he, as a player? Like he'd been signed for ages, wasn't he? And everyone was just not a bloody player. I think he went to Portsmouth.
Yeah, he went to Portsmouth and was instrumental in getting them promoted under Redknapp. So Redknapp took him to Portsmouth. Played in Fox.
Yeah. Didn't have much going for him, did he? Bless him.
No.
Australian, shock of Ginger's spiky hair as well.
Being up against the bar, though, is a classic.
Such an Aussie thing, and it's like, getting so drunk. Bless him.
Then in the middle, A Christmas Miracle. And then in the middle with him, Anton Ferdinand. So Anton was arrested for throwing the first punch in a confrontation outside a nightclub. This is a little run of Faces incidents, I think. Anton was done outside Faces. He thought he was about to be mugged for his watch, so he threw the first punch. Anton's made it into Wrongman's 11. Tompkins in the middle. And he was outside Sugar Hut, actually, not Faces.
You see, yes, we've gone for Ganshill to Brentford.
And he was accused of assaulting one of 3 police officers who were trying to arrest him. He's been refused entry to Sugar Hut.
But I can see, is it wrong that I could see that in James Tompkins?
Yeah.
He just has that Sugar Hut look about him. I mean, obviously, for people outside of Essex or people who used to live in there and moved to LA and places like that, obviously, you know what I'm talking about. He just has that sort of Brentwood look about him.
Yeah.
I miss him.
There's a little mosquito flying around. I miss Tompkins. He was such a loss for us, I think.
Yeah. Hindsight's a great thing. We sold him to Palace, and I think didn't we have like 2 or 3 like centre back injuries, and he's, I mean, he even bloody, turned out right back for us a while, didn't he? For when we didn't have a decent right back. So, I feel, I mean, was he 30 odd now, something like that? I mean, he hasn't really. He's always gets a fantastic reception when he comes back because I think people, he's a West Ham boy, and I think when West Ham boys come back, they always get most of them. But a couple.
I feel like because he wasn't playing his preferred position, was he? So I think he'd grown up to him. And then, I mean, I was going to get Da Costa in there as well. Do you remember Manuel Da Costa? With Tompkins, Fox, and Ferdinand. Da Costa could jump. That boy could jump.
Yeah.
I remember the first time he jumped like about 10 foot in the air. Didn't quite work out as much as wanted him to. Right back and right wing back, really, my 5-3-2 formation. He's going to be Super Thomas Repka.
Oh, did you? Speaking of what's his name, Da Costa? Did you see him? When him and Fagudi had a fight the other day in the Superliga.
Really?
I think Fagudi kicked out. And it went to VAR, and they sent off Fagudi or Da Costa, and you're like, yes, well done, boys.
Fagudi kicked out and missed.
Yeah, kicked out. He scored one. He scored the first goal, didn't he? The European thing, bless him. But Da Costa, bless him. But we'll do Tommy Repka, good old Tommy Repka.
So Repka on the pitch was obviously a monster. But he was a proper kind of, in the same way Dixie was, like a proper West Ham maniac.
Yeah.
There was a season when, I think the first game of the season we were playing Blackburn, and we've been really poor. And then Repka took Savage out, essentially hit him into the over the billboards into the crowd, and that kicked off that game. We went on to win that game, and I felt like kick-started our season. I felt like Repka had that in him, like that moment of madness.
Brilliant.
And he got, not only was he wrong on the pitch recently, and a couple of, well, one's a comedy story and one's a bit darker. But I love that he essentially rented a car and then sold it. He loaned the car and then sold it and got arrested for that. And then I think he might currently be in prison for offering services for his former wife. So
He's
rented cars, keep it light, mate.
Yeah, exactly. He's become more of a caricature of himself. He's become more West Ham since he's retired, isn't it? It's like it's typical soap opera. But but he loved the club as well.
I remember him crying on his final game.
Oh, he was our record signing at the time, wasn't he, from Florentino, I believe. God bless him.
So I'm going to slip into midfield now. There's 3 in the middle. I'm going to start with Johnny Monks, who's also wrong on the pitch. 60 yellows. Surprisingly, how many red cards do you think? Unless you know this already. How many?
No, I have no idea.
60 yellows.
6 red cards.
3 red cards.
Wow.
I remember when I used to go with my mate Alan, we used to have bets on when, like how soon he'd get. He'd come on as a sub and be booked within about 5 minutes.
He did.
But he was like a proper player for us monks. I loved it.
Brilliant. Great. Obviously, he's found God now.
Yeah.
But he's still got that twinkle. When we interviewed him, that twinkle, and he just like started telling us some absolutely mental stories of, obviously, everyone knows the story about, when he comes out stark naked and does,
by all accounts he was always naked on the training ground.
And it was always red, and Harry was like always shouting at him. He's like, "Monks, put some clothes on." And he was like, "I ain't got no kit." He's like, "Right, he gets kit, all right." And it's like, okay. But he just reeled off about 4 or 5 stories, and he spoke about Joey Beecham, because he signed the same day as Beecham, or Beecham had just signed and he'd signed, and they were like, "We've signed a proper player here." And then they were like travelling to like an away day, and Beecham was like behind him. He's like, "Monks, I'm gonna have to leave. I didn't think Oxford was as far as I thought it was from East London." He was like, "Fuck off," He just like typical John Moncur way of talking about.
Yeah,
I couldn't fucking believe it. But honestly, I love him. He's such a gentleman as well. When you've spoken to him.
Also in the middle there, I'm going to have Frank Lampard Jr.
Ooh.
He was filmed having sex in Iron Apple in 2000 with Rio Ferdinand.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So with Rio and Kieran Dyer, so West Ham connection. So had a wrong move from the Chelsea captain.
Yes.
And then Ravel Morrison is in the middle of there.
No, yeah.
Now he wasn't particularly wrong at West Ham. He had previous at Manchester United, and how we willed him to be the best player we've ever had, and he showed glimpses of it, particularly in the 3-0 victory over Spurs.
Of course, yeah.
I went to that match with Russ, 2 mates, Piers, and another guy, and we were at Spurs away game, and there was like the top of the stairs that went to the top.
Yeah.
And we were sat right at the top there in the away end. And whenever we scored, we literally would be propelled down the stairs off the tip. I mean, what a day that was.
Oh.
And that was Allardyce. If I was reading a report on BBC Sport, if you go to the West Ham report over 3-0 over Spurs, and there's a stilled video of Allardyce's post-game interview. He's never looked smugger, Allardyce. Like, it's just on the smuggest Allardyce face you'll ever see.
That was a famous false 9, wasn't it? If I remember,
it was no
bullshit.
And we could still have. If only we could buy forwards, we might not ever have to do that.
No, we put anyone in. Anyone goes up front
constantly, and we don't have any forwards game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ravel Moss, he was he had glimpses. It's a shame he didn't work out for us.
Yeah.
And occasionally he tweets about West Ham, which I love.
Yeah. And he seems every time he goes to another club, you're thinking, this is it. This is it. Everyone you talk to, you hear, like, I remember like Mark and like Nobes and stuff, they all talk about how fantastic this guy was, like the best player they've ever seen play. And it's like, as you said, you saw glimpses, but it's just obviously, just didn't work out, bless him, unfortunately.
Then up top, we have Savio.
Savio.
What a story that man has.
Oh.
It was our record signing. After Craig Bellamy, I love Craig Bellamy. So it was our record signing. 10 appearances. We sold him to Fiorentina and got the Costa in return. And the best Savio story, the greatest one really, was he was arrested after faking his own kidnapping in order to extort money from his family. So that is you could not get a more West Ham signing than him.
No. Totally failed in playing for West Ham. We'd spent a lot of money for him. It was a complete failure. And as you said, then gets arrested for faking his own kidnapping.
He also, I looked him up actually, and he now plays for. He's 31. He kind of he's player manager for BSC Sendins in Germany, and the league is like the Kreisklasse München 3, which is like, I was trying to work out. It's not Vauxhall Conference.
No.
It's like it goes down and down. So it's like about 6 divisions below.
Oh, so like Essex seniors or something like that. Yeah.
I mean,
fucking hell. How far can you go, man?
I don't know. Not much farther. I did a deep dive into how the German leagues work. I mean,
can you just imagine you working out the pyramid system of the German? No idea. It's like you know, like the equivalent of maybe, I don't know, he took over AFC Hornchurch or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
So that's Savio. It's a great story. The Zola and the Icelandic era. What could have been?
Yeah.
I mean, how West Ham was that for billionaires to buy you and go bankrupt?
I know, and then it was the famous. You had all the patch shirts.
Yeah.
And when they thought it was a good idea to put the same colour on top, and do you remember everyone was sweating, and everything sweated, and this patch was the same, different colour. And then they squeezed SBO Bet onto the patch. I remember for a while. Then they had a number. Because I vividly remember David Dimacheli with a number on him instead of the patch. It was absolutely brilliant. And we had obviously XL holidays, and I remember they paid extra to get it on the east stand, like on the roof. So when people were flying over from Stansted, they would see it, and then they went bust.
Yeah. I wonder how many have gone bust.
I was doing it. Alpari went bust, didn't they? SBO Bet went bust. XL went bust. We had the shirt sponsors, Bassett and Gold, wasn't it? They went bust the other day. So, you know, good luck to Betway.
Oh boy.
Because SBO Bet would always give us money. They always would. I remember, because remember when me and Jen were doing the stuff at the old ground, they would always present a cheque for £3 million on the pitch. Yeah. It's like, okay, now in hindsight, you're thinking, what they were doing with that? Because they were from Jersey, weren't they? I believe. Yeah. Okay. All right. Savio's in.
And so my final wrong on the pitch is obviously the legendary Paolo Di Canio.
Oh.
Now, I've got I can't quite sum up how I feel about Di Canio. I love him and feel that he's made some major mistakes in his life.
Yeah.
So you end up going down the kind of the salute path.
Yes.
Which he's done. And I think without any kind of shame about it, he seems to not mind as much about that kind of world. No. And also, in that season we got relegated, I feel like he let us down a lot. I know people blame Roda, but he was all kinds of trouble off the pitch. And a team that should never have gone down. No. And I don't feel that in that final season, no matter how much he's done for us and how much he did for us and how much we loved him, I feel like he let us down. Yeah, that is my feelings about Di Canio.
But then you watch and you switch on Twitter today and you see him singing "Dancing in the Moonlight." If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's fucking hilarious. I don't know. It must have been it's like, I don't know, an Italian version of Glastonbury. It's all over Twitter today. It's absolutely brilliant. Not one note in tune. Why it's Dancing in the Moonlight, I do not know. But it's, you know, the proper, like, you know, not like the remix, like, you know, like there's a remix version out. It was proper, like, you know, not the proper version, but the top loader version, it sounded like, to be honest. But
one of the best players I've ever seen play.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. And passionate, and he ticks so many boxes. That last season left a bad feeling in my mouth.
Yeah. And, you know, the ultimate wrong un, because he wouldn't have got him unless he pushed the referee over.
Yeah. Well, I always felt that referee dive.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Alcock, wasn't it? And obviously then it was Razor and Ian Wright did it as a celebration, didn't they? Then we signed him like such a West Ham thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's funny when you talk about Paolo, everyone has their own stories, you know, and it's funny watching doing these videos, and Paolo comes up, and everyone has a story about Paolo, and some of them are brilliant. You know, where we had John Joe and Gary Herman came on, and Paolo invited them to his office at Swindon when he was Swindon manager. So they go in after the game. I think they'd lost. I think Swindon had lost. Paolo's like, chatting, and then he's in his desk, in his manager's office at the county ground, opens up his drawer. It is literally stuffed full of West Ham clippings, memorabilia, and you're like, Paolo, it's just like they spent hours going through it. Or there's another story, another guy we interviewed, a guy called Mick Clifford, was interviewing Paolo for Scandinavian Hammers, and he was outside Chadwell Heath and he could hear whistling, like someone whistling the Canio tune, for about half an hour continually. He couldn't understand what it was, and then out walks Paolo with a pair of white, his tidy whities on. He'd be in the shower singing his own fucking song for half an hour.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah. My cousin went to his house when he played for West Ham. Their kids were friends with his kids, and went to his house in Rome, and went to visit him. Well, went to visit the wife and the kids, and he's got a room. She could just hear this roar, and she went and looked in, and he was sat in this room, which is like a massive screen with speakers all around him, and he was just sat in there watching his goals. And if I scored the goals he did, that's all I would ever do.
Of course, yeah, of course. The best mic drop moment, the story we had was Nicky Hawkins from West Ham Fan TV. They were doing one of those sort of player Q&A things, there's meet and greets, and he went, Paolo turns up looking like $1 million, as you can imagine, Gucci all the way down, whatever. Yeah. And he goes, Paolo, you're looking good, man. And he just went, I always dress up for my family. That got me right there, dude. Bless him. But no, he was a legend, man. Legend. Absolutely brilliant. No, I love that. James, man, that's great. Thank you so much.
Also, it would without. I should also mention in the wrong uns, we got a manager. Yeah. We've got our chairman.
Oh, okay.
Both money through porn.
Anyway, glossing over. I thought he was going to say Eggy, and I'd have been all right. But yeah.
No, it's anyway. We've had plenty of wrong uns. So that's my wrong 11.
Yeah, actually brilliant. Love it. Cheers, Jim. It's great. We finally get through. We finally get it in, mate.
Thanks for having me. Let me just show a picture that's above my door.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. So this is, can you see that? So
yeah.
The photographer took it. He did the last he took a photo journal of pictures at West Ham. And this is, you can see what's on my desk.
See GQ magazine as well. There you go.
He did
that's lovely.
Like loads of pictures. And this is the guys on the flats overlooking the ground as the glow of Upton Park comes up.
That's fantastic.
And it was always like, when I was a kid, I always used to sit in the West End and you can look up those flats and be like, that
I wish I had one.
Flat in the world.
Yeah.
And now I think, is that flat still there overlooking flat? Now it's not.
Now it's flat over flat, which just overlooks a little bit of a grassy garden in the middle, I think, now, isn't it, unfortunately?
I don't know if I can ever go back. I don't know. One day I will.
I think one day, I was fortunate enough to, talking about kids, Flo was only 3, but obviously at West Ham, you could always get into the ground. Let's just say it wasn't the most stringent security procedures at Upton Park, and so I got a picture of her on the pitch because I know that for her, she's 8 now. She never remembers that. It was always West Ham, always play at the shopping centre. She calls it. Lovely. Thank you, Flo. No, but it is. Yeah, I don't think I could ever go back there. I used to remember we used to go over the even when it was still there, you'd go over sort of when you're in A406, you'd go over that bridge just with the Barking turnover, and you'd always see the glow of the you just look quickly and it was over there. But it's can't go back. Can't go back.
No, you can't get back. I always get that. I think about that walk up from Upton Park and how wonderful that was, and then when we used to drink at a Black Lion before that, walk down, and you eventually look around, and the noises and the smells and the colours.
And then when you found out Upton Park Station was closed, and you had to all that walk to Barking instead.
We always spoke about that long wait when you'd get the train to Upton Park, and sometimes you'd wait outside it for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
sweating.
Oh God, yeah.
We'd give for that again.
Yeah, well, I'm being funny. I mean, we recorded this on Friday. I'm at Brentford, or doing the Brentford game tomorrow, and Yeah, it's great because I get my car because there's no fans, so I literally my car park space is outside the ground. It's like outside the actual stadium, like the where all the champion stones are and stuff. That becomes an auxiliary car park. I'm home in 20 minutes. It's fucking brilliant. I tell you, it's great. But anyway, you couldn't do no social distancing at Old Upton Park, to be honest. In hindsight.
No.
It was the forefront of our owners to assume that a global pandemic would be.
They knew.
Become
They knew it was coming.
Forefront. Anyway, enough about that. James, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, man. Absolute pleasure. Thank you. And obviously, thanks everyone for watching, or listening, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, whatever. Give it a good old subscribe. And until next time, for me and James, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Come on your irons.
Come on your irons.
And we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.